Fire is a chemical reaction, a dance between oxygen, fuel, and heat. Three things that form what experts call the fire triangle. Remove just one of them, and the fire dies completely. But here is the problem: removing one of those pieces is not always easy, especially when panic is involved. Think about a cooking oil fire in the kitchen. Pouring water makes it worse because water turns instantly into steam, exploding the oil outward and spreading the flames. That is why different fires need different approaches, different chemicals, and different extinguishers. Wood burns differently than gasoline. Gasoline burns differently than electrical wiring, and each one needs its own solution. This simple truth, the fire triangle, is the foundation of every fire extinguisher ever invented. And once you understand this idea, everything else suddenly makes sense. Now let's talk about what really happens inside that red cylinder. Every extinguisher is basically a pressurized container filled with either powder foam liquid or gas. Inside, pressure is constantly held, so the moment you pull the pin and squeeze the handle, the stored pressure forces the extinguishing agent out through the nozzle. If it's a dry chemical extinguisher, the powder coats the flame, interrupting the chemical reaction, so the fire cannot continue. If it's a carbon dioxide extinguisher, the CO2 pushes away oxygen and cools the fire at the same time. If it's foam, the foam spreads, creating a blanket that blocks oxygen from reaching the fuel. Different extinguishers eliminate different parts of the fire triangle, and that is why no single extinguisher is perfect for every situation. A CO2 extinguisher is great for electrical fires, but terrible for kitchen oil fires. A powder extinguisher works for many things, but can destroy electronics and leave a huge mess. Knowing which one to use is just as important as having one in the first place. Even though extinguishers look simple, many mistakes happen during real emergencies, mostly because panic takes over. The first mistake is grabbing the extinguisher and spraying randomly without aiming or even knowing how to remove the safety pin. The second mistake is standing too far, so the extinguishing agent never reaches the base of the fire. Another common mistake is spraying the top of the flames instead of the fuel source, which does nothing to stop the fire. And sometimes people choose the wrong extinguisher, like using foam or liquid on an electrical fire, or using a CO2 extinguisher on burning oil, which can cause the flames to flare up again. All of these mistakes show one thing. We see fire extinguishers everywhere in offices, homes, cars, and buildings, but very few people actually know how to use them correctly. Learning something simple like this can make a huge difference, because during a real fire, even a few seconds can change everything. After learning the history, the science, the mechanics, and the mistakes, there is one simple truth. A fire extinguisher is a small tool with a huge purpose. But it only works when the person holding it knows what they are doing and understands how fire behaves. Awareness like this may seem small, but it becomes powerful when the unexpected happens, and you suddenly need to act faster than fear. If that day ever comes, I hope you remember what you learned today and feel a little more prepared than you were before. Thank you for watching and staying with this story from beginning to end. If you enjoy content like this, hit the subscribe and like button to support the channel, and share this video with someone who needs insight like this. Before we wrap everything up, there is one more part of the story that people rarely understand, but actually matters the most: the different types of fire extinguishers and why each one exists. When you walk into a building, you might notice letters printed on the label, A, B, C, D, or K, and most people have no idea what those letters mean, even though they decide whether the extinguisher will work or make the fire worse. Class A is for everyday fires like wood, paper, and things that burn slowly. Cloth and steadily you might see in a trash bin, the kind of fire, or a stack of boxes. Class B is for flammable liquids like gasoline, paint, alcohol, and cooking oil. The kind of fires that move quickly because liquids spread fast and burn even faster. Class C is for electrical fires. Everything involving outlets, wires, appliances, or circuits, where water or foam could easily cause a shock or create a bigger danger. Class D, the one people almost never hear about, is made for burning metals, like magnesium or titanium materials that burn so hot. Normal extinguishers become useless, react violently because the metals with water or foam. And then there is Class K, a type created specifically for commercial kitchens. Each class exists because each fire is like a different enemy with different strengths and different weaknesses, and understanding that is the key to staying safe in real emergencies. If you pick the right extinguisher, the fire triangle breaks instantly. But if you pick the wrong one, the fire grows or reacts or spreads, because the wrong extinguishing agent can feed the flames instead of stopping them. This is why training, even simple training, matters more than people think, because fires happen fast. And in the moment, you do not get time to think, you only get time to act. And the more you understand these letters, these classes, and these tools, the more control you have over something that usually feels completely uncontrollable. Now, there is another part people almost never talk about, but it is one of the most important things about owning a fire extinguisher maintenance. A fire extinguisher is not like a chair or a table. You cannot just hang it on a wall and forget about it for years. Inside the cylinder, pressure slowly changes valves, weakened seals dry out, and sometimes the extinguishing agent settles and hardens, making the extinguisher completely useless when you need it the most.
In one real case, a cook acted quickly, grabbed the correct Class K extinguisher, and sprayed the base with a steady sweep, and within seconds, the fire went out without spreading, without causing injuries, and without damaging the entire kitchen. But in a different case, a similar fire happened, and someone panicked, grabbed a water bucket, and threw it on the burning oil. The flames exploded upward, hit the ceiling, and spread across the kitchen in seconds, turning a small fire into a major disaster, all because the wrong method was used. In another story, an office electrical fire started inside a power strip, and one employee who had recently learned how fire extinguishers work grabbed a CO2 extinguisher and put out the fire before it reached the carpet, the desks, and the wiring in the walls. A few seconds of knowledge and the right tool saved the entire building from what could have been a massive loss. These moments remind us that a fire extinguisher is not just an object, it is a decision point, a fork in the road where one choice can protect everything and the other can let everything burn. The more you understand how these tools work, the safer your life becomes, because fires do not wait, and they do not forgive panic or confusion. We close this extended journey about fire extinguishers. There is one message that stays unchanged throughout the entire topic. Knowledge is your greatest defense against fire. A small extinguisher, a tool that weighs less than a full grocery bag, can stop something that destroys homes, businesses, and lives every single year. And all it asks from you is awareness. A few minutes of understanding and the willingness to prepare before the emergency arrives. You now know the different classes. You know how fires work. You know the mistakes to avoid. You know the techniques, and you know why maintenance and readiness matter more than anything. If a fire ever breaks out, I hope all of this gives you clarity, gives you calm, and gives you the confidence to act correctly in a moment most people fear but very few prepare for. Thank you for staying with this story and diving deeper into something we all see every day but rarely pay attention to until it matters the most. If you enjoy content like this, click subscribe and like to support the channel and share this video with someone who needs insight like this.